I don't want to just survive through winter. I want to thrive through it because it's like half the year. But if I apply that mentality here, like, oh, it's cold, let's not go outside, then we're inside way too much. I think that for the best of our health and well-being, it is right now not a good idea for us. Hello and welcome back, or just welcome if you're new here. I'm Common, I'm a first-time mom, and it is currently October. It is autumn, it is fall, it is for me the final month of transition from the warmer weather to the colder weather. This is going to be our third winter in Calgary, Canada. The first one, we had just moved here. I was halfway pregnant, I gave birth. I was mostly indoors anyway. It was a pretty easy, novel experience. So for the second winter, I was extremely unprepared because the first one felt so easy. Yeah? Sure. Yeah, lapis. Lapis. Okay. So last year I was very unprepared for winter, so it was a lot rougher, but I learned a lot, and therefore I feel a lot more prepared this year. And that is what I'm going to talk about in today's video. One of the things that I realized last year is the importance of getting out the house during winter. This is not a revelation, most people know this. But in order to get out more regularly, I realized the importance of having it be easier to get out your house. And what I mean by that is the setup, where your stuff is, what you need to do to be able to get out the house. Our first winter started off, we were living in an Airbnb because we had just moved to Canada. Then we moved into a house. It was a new experience in that house, but it had like a mud room and a back door. It was fairly easy to get in and out the house, although it did have a detached garage. Then in this house, love the attached garage. Honestly, didn't realize how much I appreciate having it until we had it. However, there is no proper mud room. There kind of is, but the back door is also our laundry room. It has a closet, but it doesn't have a lot of space. So this year, I have decided that I'm going to reorganize both the back door and the front door to make sure that our space is easy for us to grab our things and also to put our things back once we come home in order to facilitate the process of getting out the house. We're all done with breakfast. I'm just going to finish making my coffee, and while I do the laundry, I will show you what I mean. One of the other things that I'm doing to prepare is after winter I do wash all of our coats and all of the things that we use before I pack it away. However, I will go through that, sort it out, remove some of the stuff we no longer want in there. The one thing I didn't wash at the end of last year that I will be washing now before we start this year is Elba's winter stroller stuff. And that is what is up here. This is her like bunting thing that goes onto the stroller. It is super useful, and then cannot recommend them enough. These are stroller mittens, I guess they're called. But I specifically wanted the ones that are 2 different hands. So that's how I got these. And I love them. While we're in the laundry room, let me show you that it is quite a small space for us to come out of the garage. And then there is this closet here. And those are our bottles to go to the bottle depot and recycling. No, we do not consume alcohol. This is port from Ian's broth making, which I'm also going to get to because that is part of our winter prep as well. I have to hop on a call now, but this is chaos. This is the bench at our front door. It is currently total chaos because it is in transition. This is where I'm going to put some hooks for our coats. But this is something I've already started. This is amazing. I thrifted this basket, but these are Elba's winter shoes. I will make a whole video on Elba's winter shoes. The reason for that is that...
Papa!
Okay?
Papa!
Ja. Hey, niet vandaag met Rossi.
Mama.
Wat gaan we dan gaan doen? Maybe we can sing Naughty. Mama beschikbaar is. Wacht even. Back to where we were. With Elba's shoes, I did a lot of research because we value the quality of movement.
Mama.
Yes, Sophie. Bye, Dumpty. Yes, coffee. And for us, that means having barefoot, zero drop, wide toe box shoes that are flexible to support the natural movement of your feet rather than to constrain them. This, of course, is very easy to do in summer and spring, and also relatively easy in fall. But come winter and it's snowing and it's really cold, we've got the additional requirement of keeping her feet warm. I literally spent months looking at shoes. Broth, preciso. We took a potty break, we took a served mushroom break, and we're back. This is Elba's first winter where she can walk, so for me it is very important that from the onset of her walking in winter that she's got shoes that we believe facilitate natural movement and the development of her foot in a natural way. And this is my 3rd winter. The first 2 winters I just went with a traditional snow boot, and I really did not like that. I hated wearing them. I felt like they're so bulky and they constrict my foot, and it just, my snow boots go against all the other shoes that I always wear. But there was so much purchasing, there was so much happening that I wasn't even aware of an alternative. We typically wear Bebo barefoot, and I don't think they have a proper women's snow boot. Anyway, long story short, this year in preparation for winter, it's a big deal. It's a pricey thing that we've chosen to do, but paid a deposit to have custom made native mucklucks, specifically custom made so that they can have the wide toe box. This particular person that we chose to make them already does a zero drop shoe. She does the traditional sole of the shoe, where a lot of mucklucks these days have a very chunky rubber type sole. The ones we're having made have the crepe rubber sole. You get all the feedback from what you're walking on, which is what we want. They're not ready yet. They take about 6 to 8 weeks to be made. So when they arrive, I will make an entire video dedicated to the shoes that I picked for Elba after months and months and months of looking at shoes, researching shoes, what our custom made shoes look like for me and for her, and I'm very excited about that. But that's one thing we've done in preparation for this winter, was I didn't enjoy the shoes that I was wearing, and that's a big deal. You want to enjoy your shoes you're wearing. You want them to be warm, you want them to align with your health and well-being values and what you strive for there, and you want to put your shoes on, or at least feel like it's some kind of neutral act. And I really hope that these shoes are part of that, and I'm very excited that we've done that for this winter. Moving away slightly from the clothing discussion, because this is right here in front of me, one of the other preparations that we've done, and I say we, but this one was not we, this one was mostly Ian, is a lot of broth making. So we like to, for winter, have broth on a daily basis. For that, we have been building up a stash. So Ian tries to make broth weekly, and then we have enough for the week, but then we also have some that we put into the freezer. Particularly this batch, or the last few batches that he's been making, is made with a Hungarian pig. It's a farm just there close to Strathmore. I went to them in the open farms day. Ian likes to do it with pig feet, and of course like carcass if you've got carcass lying around, tendons from the beef, but pig feet and chicken feet are the ones that really render a nice gelatinous broth. These pigs in particular are higher in vitamin D, which of course is something that we lack here, because in South Africa you're able to get vitamin D all year round, whereas here you are not able to get vitamin D all year round from the sun, which means that we then turn to our diet as well to try to promote the intake of vitamin D. So this is what he made yesterday. We're trying something new by making them in jars. They're a little bit full. Usually we make them in glass containers, but we are going to run out of glass containers with how much we're making, and we have a lot of glass containers. So we're going to try see if the jar works. I'm just going to take the level down a little bit. Yeah. I'm heavily jumping between topics now. Last year, I just kind of bought whatever snowsuit looked nice and appropriate, and I actually ended up not liking them because they were so bulky. Elba couldn't move well in them, and I was really frustrated by that. So I asked friends, like, what kind of snowsuit would be one where she's warm but she can move in a lot, and they said the MEC, Mountain Equipment Company, toaster suit, which is what I ended up purchasing for her at the end of last year. This is the purple one, and it came with booties that are the same color, and they still fit because the MEC stuff runs big. So this is a size 12, but again, their stuff runs big. So it currently does fit, yes, boom, but it will not fit for much longer. So as soon as people were starting to sell their snowsuits, I knew that I wanted to look for the next size up one, which I got for a really good price in fantastic condition. It did not come with the little booties, but that's fine because I ended up finding them at the consignment store in a size that fits her. I went to the consignment store like winter drop, and I was there 10 minutes after it started, and I feel like all the good stuff was already taken. Anyway, I did find a MEC suit in a size bigger, so that's not here, that's upstairs. And then I bought this one, which is a Columbia two-piece suit. There you go. However, try as I might, I cannot get the smell of detergent out of it. And if you're not familiar with me, we are a very natural family. I do not like to use conventional laundry detergents, and I particularly take issue with their fragrance. I have washed it several times, I have soaked it, and I'm not able to get rid of the smell. So I don't want to use it, and I ended up listing it on Facebook Marketplace, and that's why I jumped to this topic, because literally somebody's gonna come fetch it for the same price that I paid for it, which means that I will get her something else so that she has 2 snowsuits, but I'm not going to wear something that has a very strong detergent smell, like a slight detergent smell maybe, but this one, like, if it's lying over there and I walk past it, I can still smell it. So my preparation for winter with Elba this year is a lot more intention with the type of snowsuit that I'm getting from the get-go, and I knew already what I wanted, which was this one, and I got it for her, plus the matching boots, and I'm quite happy because she can move quite easily in these, and they keep her nice and warm. Now I'm just telling the person that is outside for them. Might as well stay here while she's having fun here. The other thing around clothing that is slowly taking place in preparation for winter is that, like I just said, we are quite natural people, or we prefer the natural vibes. And one of the things with moving to a new country, experiencing winter, there's a lot of expenses. And I still think that that is a balance. It's quite difficult to find the all-natural stuff. And for us, we're still learning about winter and experiencing what works for us and what doesn't work for us. The long story short, what I'm doing in preparation for this winter is that I am progressing our family to the more all-natural things. However, I want to do it in a way that feels, the word that's coming to mind for me is wholesome, but also in a way that, like, lessens the financial burden and just feels all around good. So what that means for me is I wanted Elba to have real wool booties. They're quite pricey, and secondhand they're not always in great quality. Danke. Oh, all right. So what I decided to do was to start, because I like to buy a lot of stuff from the thrift store. I find that it's better financially, it's better for the environment, and oftentimes you can find amazing things for very affordable. Anyway, I started looking out for real wool so that I could learn to crochet these booties for Elba, which I did. This crocheting, I just watched YouTube videos and then crocheted, progressed into making her a jersey, and then it progressed to making Ian a mohair and silk scarf, which I am very proud of. The amount of jumping around in this video, I apologize. So the kitchen is finally clean, just in time for me to make it dirty again by making supper, but I'm all about the real, and actually most days are not this chaotic, and most days the kitchen is not this wild, but today it was. Back to the winter prep. So my crocheting, I'm having a great time. I just finished hand warmers for my mom, and for Elba, I'll make some for Ian, also from the mohair silk. I have been thrifting whenever I see it, real wool from the thrift stores. The mohair and silk I bought on Facebook Marketplace secondhand because I needed quite a lot to make a scarf. And sometimes with thrifting, don't always get a lot of the same color. Sometimes I do. I also made a sister wool blanket that I will show you, but I ran out of sister wool, so and now I'm just waiting until I find some in the thrift store again, and that is going to go in our car. So in terms of winter prep, I think even for the first winter, I was pretty good at prepping the car. It's got its kit, it's got the important things, you know, the emergency kit, the spare clothing for Elba, all of that kind of stuff is done. However, to prep the car this year, I just realized that in winter you live in your car like a lot. And I don't mean that like we travel a lot. It's more that usually in summer and spring, like you arrive at a place and you get out, where in winter, if you're waiting for somebody, or with Elba, if we're doing elimination communication, we might want to potty and do all that. I might then do it in the car rather than get out, depending on where I am and the activity that we're doing. So the car needs to be a lot more organized, and I'd like it to be clean. I also realized that in winter, the car gets really dirty inside because you've got your muddy snow boots that you're putting in your car every time. And it's not that fun to clean the interior in winter. So I'll just do a nice thorough clean of the car, the inside of the car, before we go into winter. And we're actually replacing our car seat, so we'll get a good opportunity to clean everything beneath the car seat. And the organization of the car for me is very important going into winter, because like I said, we're doing stuff in the car. She's going potty in the car, and the stuff that you've got in the car are typically more bulky. So I want to be more intentional about what is going into our car, so it's not so chaotic in there and it feels as spacious as it can feel. Of course, we will be putting on our winter tires. We've done that every year. We use all season tires the rest of the time, and then we use winter tires in winter. Our car service is coming up, so we typically have the winter tires done with the car service. So that will be done, I think, in a week or two. I also think that now I'm more prepared in terms of the car, but also Elva is older, so now she can walk, which does make life easier. But we have a car seat that stays in the car, and that was and still is a thing that I don't want to take her from the house and then put her in that freezing seat. But also to bring that seat inside is a lot of effort. It's pretty heavy. What I started doing at the end of last year that I will continue to do, but I'll have a space for all these things. So last year I was kind of figuring it out on the go, and of course this year there will be stuff that I'm figuring out, but I use a flaxseed bag to heat up the seat before she gets in the seat. And then she has like a car blanket that for the initial part I will put on her just to keep her warm until the car is nice and warm. So there will be a space for this flaxseed bag that we use. We know where it goes. So a lot of times it would be like, oh, I'm gonna drop Ian at the train station like early in the morning. It's like, where's the flaxseed bag? Gotta make the flaxseed bag. And then we don't know where it is because it doesn't have space. It's chaotic, unnecessarily so. So this year it will have a space. And the other thing is the blanket that we use is just some polyester blanket that we got gifted and happened to become the car blanket. I have the full intention to crochet a wool blanket, but wool doesn't always feel very nice, although it's fantastic in terms of like keeping you warm and stuff. I'm going to try to line the one side of it with linen. That's going to be a project that I will take on shortly and I'm excited about, but that will then become Elba's car blanket. So slowly over time we're learning what works for us and then getting the things that we feel align with our health and well-being and sustainability values. Another one in terms of house prep, I showed you a bit of the view, but this house has really big, wonderful windows and we've got beautiful trees all around. But last year there was the unfortunate thing that our view was obstructed by the glass panels. There was a really cold time and the furnace wasn't working properly, and it exposed that the glass had separated from each other and moisture went in between the two panes. So that literally obstructed our beautiful, very important view in winter, because where are you looking at nature a lot of the time in winter? Through your window. And that was not great. And it was on most of the windows, 14 of them to be exact. So thankfully the landlord has replaced the glass in the windows and we will have a clear view of the beautiful trees and the mountains through our windows. I think that's going to make a big difference. A few like house prep things, we'll just make sure there's specific things that kind of seal the doors, so we'll just make sure they're in great quality for that, and take all of our snow mats and put it back into the garage. These sound like very normal things, like people who are used to cold climates might be rolling their eyes like, why are you even mentioning this? Like, this is not anything to write home about. But it is for people like us who are not used to winter. It's like the first winter we didn't realize how slippery the garage was and how many snow mats we needed around the car to make sure I didn't slip when I was pregnant. So now we know those things and we know, okay, we'd like to, when it's still warm enough, give the garage a nice sweep out, clean the snow mats, and then put them in there as preparation. Where the previous years is like, oh, this is not safe, this is incredibly wet and slippery, go to Canadian Tire and buy some snow mats. The other home thing will be to have the furnace cleaned. Also, we have some vent filters, so I'll replace those and make sure that everything is nice and dust free because this is blowing air the whole time. So this is the blanket that I started making from this yarn.
Bye.
Yeah, come back. And then ran out of. Yes, come back. Alba likes it. So 2 final things, and then I'm going to end off this video. Please bear with me with some bad lighting right now. So the second last thing is I spoke about the importance of getting out the house.
Mama.
And a part of that is making it easy, having the right gear. Ease by, like, I mean, like your house and your car or whatever it is that you need to get out, and the gear, the stroller stuff. And this year I don't baby carry. So in previous years I would baby carry, and then my coat had a vest extender. Oh, that reminds me, one thing we still haven't upgraded is our coats. When we moved here, we're like, oh, we need a coat, and went to Mark's and bought a $100 coat. And other side, those are still the coats we use. Honestly, we like them and we haven't felt the need to replace them. But the other thing that I've done in preparation for winter and making it better and easier to get out is to have planned activities for me and Elba to do. And I have one started now, expanded my friendship circle for, in particular, mom friends whose children do not go to daycare, because Elba doesn't go to daycare. So it's really nice if we've got other mom friends where we can do things during the day on a weekday, because on weekends I will typically hang out with the mom friends whose kids don't go to daycare, or I will be doing things with Ian. So that's one way that I'm busy expanding my friendship circle. Another one is I have literally scheduled activities that Elba and I will be doing on set days at set times to ensure that we get out and we go do them. I signed us up for a, I don't know what it's called, like an appreciation of nature or something. It's 6 weeks, it's for an hour long, where the concept of it is an appreciation for nature and being outside no matter what the weather is. I think their only conditions are like minus 15 or colder, then they won't be hosting it, but come rain or shine or snow, these sessions will continue. And that I'm a little bit nervous about, but also very excited. So because I already signed up and paid for it, that helps to incentivize to get out the house to do things in winter, because it can become so easy not to, especially because I am like a homebody. I'm very happy to sit and read and watch the snow. But for my well-being and for my child's development and health and well-being, it's very important that we get out quite a lot. So this year I'm definitely not attempting to do 1,000 hours outside. Maybe next year I will try to do, I don't think 1,000, and that might be a bit much for us, but I'll set like some kind of goal. It's also not just that I'm a homebody, but as somebody who lived in South Africa where the weather is pretty easy a lot of the time, we just wait out weather that is not pleasant. You know, it's not like, oh, it's raining, let's still go out. It's like, oh, it's raining, let's do nothing and wait for the sun to shine. But if I apply that mentality here, like, oh, it's cold, let's not go outside, then we're inside way too much. So that is literally something I have to break, to be like, okay, we get the gear, we do the things that are still fun to do, even when the weather is difficult. So that's something that's taking me, I have to be intentional about it, where maybe people who live here, who are born here, who are from here, don't need that. They're used to, oh, it's cold, we still go out, we still do things. And that brings me to the final thing that we are doing in preparation for winter. Like I said, this is our 3rd winter. And having now done that, I think that for the best of our health and well-being, it is right now not a good idea for us to do an entire winter. And that's not to say that we're not able to. We are. We definitely are. We've done 2 of them. But I just think that we've not yet climatized, I guess, so to speak, in a way that makes it that we thrive through winter. I don't want to just survive through winter. I want to thrive through it, because it's like half the year. And There's many reasons, I've chatted about them in this video, why we may not be thriving yet. We're not used to it. We also don't yet eat seasonally. We also don't spend enough time outside during winter and the rest of the year, I think, to feel good through winter. So by the end of last winter, I was like see-through and it was not pleasant. Like I was fine, you know, it's not like major illnesses or anything, but I was definitely not thriving or feeling great, and I was definitely going like, we really need some proper sun. And for your well-being, Calgary is awesome because the sun does shine all the time, but I literally wanted, you know, that UV sun. So I was like watching my app to see when is the UV gonna up, and as soon as it did, we were like outside. But I am working on our family to eat more seasonally, to bring in ways of living that makes it much easier to thrive through winter rather than to survive through it. And this is covered in other videos with Ian healing, even more so. I'm like, this is not a good idea for us people who are from the coast, where we would swim a lot in the sea, in the sun, for a big part of the year, now living inland, to being a lot indoors and not seeing that kind of sun, I don't think is great for us. So for the first time since we've moved to Canada, we have a trip planned to go to beach and sun, actually at more or less the beginning of winter, because it's at the end of November, but those dates just made sense for us. And I think that for the foreseeable future, as much prep as I'll be doing for winter, the prep for winter will also include financially and time-wise and resource-wise to take some kind of trip in winter. And that is really just because I think we are not from here and we need that sun and that sea. So other years, hopefully that will mean going to South Africa to see our family. This year, it makes sense for us to go to somewhere that is closer, especially with Elba being so young and Ian healing and other reasons. So we will be taking a trip to Costa Rica. One thing that I actually forgot to mention is another way that we've prepared more this year is that we bought a larger chest freezer, and with some friends we went halvies on a cow. And what's awesome about having the half a cow, and then I've got an inventory of what the cuts are, is to be able to plan, like through winter, these are going to be the more preferred cuts that we want to use to make those nice, rich winter type meals. We're also learning to source food better in general. So we actually, although we didn't buy as much, we also buy our chicken and pork in bulk, which saves trips to the grocery store. Because while I'm saying I want to get out, I want to get out and be outside, not get out and then go grocery shopping a lot of the time. So that's something that just through living here, we become better with knowing where we want to source our food from and making that process more efficient. Also slowly learning to eat more seasonally. So this year there will be an attempt from my side, we're now in pumpkin season, to use that to make some soups and some other things. And I actually got a book about eating locally from Alberta and sourcing your food and so forth. So that's still a work in progress, but it's definitely an improvement from the previous 2 years. And with that, I'm going to end off today's video. Thank you for being with me. It's a little bit chaotic. The house is looking a little bit wild today, but I appreciate you being with me nonetheless. And I will continue to keep you updated on how this winter goes. And how our shoes go. And if you like this video, please like this video and subscribe to my channel.
Bye bye.